This is where a lot of activity happened in the Bible. In fact, Moses was out minding his own business with a flock of sheep when God appears to him in a burning bush.
In the heart of the Arabian desert, where ancient history meets modern inquiry, a discovery of exceptional proportions has sent shockwaves through the scientific community.
This mountain that Moses is standing on, this is Mount Sinai or Mount Horeb in the Bible.
Deep within the sands of Saudi Arabia, a group of determined atheists has stumbled upon something that challenges the very fabric of our understanding. But with each revelation comes a gush of questions. What secrets do these artifacts hold? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for our understanding of history and humanity? Join us as we uncover the extraordinary discovery that made the scientist panic in Saudi Arabia. Number 1. Atheists' astonishing discovery in Saudi Arabia. The remarkable discovery by atheists in Saudi Arabia has the potential to deeply question the fundamental beliefs of all religions. What these atheists unearthed in Saudi Arabia could shake the very core of the three major Abrahamic faiths. Consider the Bible, a sacred text with a history spanning over 2,700 years. Its longevity alone underscores its thoughtful significance in shaping human civilization. Despite its venerable age and status as a holy book, there are doubts among many Muslims regarding its accuracy. The belief persists that the true essence of the Bible has been obscured over time due to numerous alterations. Within its pages lie references to mysterious places, among them the famed Mount Sinai, also known as the Mountain of Moses. According to biblical accounts, this is where the revered prophet Moses received the divine revelation of the Ten Commandments from God himself.
You are not worthy to receive these 10 commandments.
The information about Mount Sinai is found in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the book of Exodus chapters 19 and 20. But the exact location of Mount Sinai has long been shrouded in mystery. It's a quest that nearly every archaeologist takes on at least once in their career to uncover the true Mount Sinai. Initially, it was believed that Jabal Musa, meaning Mountain of Moses, was situated in the southern part of the Sinai Peninsula. Interestingly, a surprising connection has been revealed between this sacred mountain and Muslims worldwide. The atheist who made this astonishing discovery found evidence suggesting that the Saudi government has been concealing archaeological findings related to Mount Sinai. This mountain holds immense significance for Islam, Christianity, and Judaism alike. Nearly every religious tradition believes that Mount Sinai is where Moses received the divine revelation from God himself, appearing before the prophet in a manifestation of divine presence. Mount Sinai, masked in religious charisma and geographical uncertainty, stands as a witness to the intertwining of faith and history. Legends not only link it to the divine deliverance of the Israelites from Egyptian bondage, but also whisper of its connection to pivotal moments in biblical narratives.
The Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous.
Early Christian traditions, in their quest to identify this sacred peak, looked towards Mount Sinai, a formidable presence in the Egyptian landscape. Its prominence, though noteworthy, was overshadowed by the towering splendor of Mount Catherine, whose summit penetrates the heavens as the highest point in Egypt. Josephus, the eminent historian of antiquity, lent credence to this claim in the 6th century, redirecting the gaze of believers towards this lofty pinnacle. The fervor sparked by Josephus's assertion rippled through the fabric of religious communities, culminating in the establishment of a Georgian colony near what is now considered the domain of Mount Sinai. Here, amid the rugged terrain, they erected churches as beacons of faith, fostering a spiritual stronghold atop the uncertain foundations of geographic speculation. As centuries passed, the allure of Mount Sinai persisted, drawing nosy minds and adventurous souls in pursuit of truth. Up till now, despite fervent endeavors, the elusive peak remains mysterious, its whereabouts veiled in a cloak of uncertainty. But then, there were lots of vision in the quest for Mount Sinai. Number 2. The thrilling enigma of Mount Sinai. Saudi Arabia emerges as an enticing prospect in the quest for Mount Sinai, pressed by the biblical narrative of Moses' flight towards this desert realm during his exile. Archaeological inspection intensifies, with experts combing through ancient texts, geological formations, and historical records in search of clues that might unravel the mystery once and for all. So in the midst of this scholarly pursuit, one thing remains abundantly clear. Mount Sinai excels mere geography. It embodies the enduring human quest for understanding, weaving together threads of faith, history, and exploration into a needlepoint of captivating intrigue. But in a field where consensus is elusive, one archaeologist dares to deviate from the common narrative.
I think this is extremely important to make the Texans aware of what they have got.
Emmanuel Anati boldly proposes a radical idea that Mount Sinai resides not where many believe, but nestled within the rugged contours of Har Karkom, a range carved into the southern Negev desert. So Anati's conviction in this theory stands unwavering, despite facing doubt from fellow archaeologists. At 2,700 feet, Har Karkom may seem an unlikely candidate for the revered biblical site, yet Anati sees beyond its imposing stature. To him, the ancient rock art adorning its slopes serves as a compelling link to the narratives of Mount Sinai depicted in sacred texts. While Anati's hypothesis has met with resistance, there are those who lend their support. Professor Menashe Harel, an esteemed Israeli geographer and biblical scholar, finds merit in Anati's argument. Drawing from his extensive study of biblical texts, Harel sees an appearance of truth in Anati's unconventional claim, refusing to dismiss it as mere conjecture. In a realm where certainties are scarce and interpretations varied, Anati's rebellious voice serves as a reminder of the boundless complexity of history and faith. Whether his theory ultimately finds validation or fades into insignificance, it remains a tribute to the enduring spirit of inquiry and the quest for truth. But Professor Menashe asserts that his thorough examination of the biblical text, particularly focusing on the book of Exodus, has unveiled compelling evidence. Quoting verses 1 and 2 from chapter 3 of Exodus, he highlights the account of Moses shepherding his flock in the vicinity of Horeb. According to Menashe, this location, near Horeb, is synonymous with the presence of the mountain of God. Drawing from his knowledge in geography, Menashe offers scientific validation for his theory. He argues that the geographical descriptions provided in the biblical narrative seamlessly align with the terrain of the southern region of the Negev. Despite being a desert landscape, the Negev harbors suitable areas for sheep grazing, as evidenced by Moses' pastoral duties in the Horeb area, as mentioned in Exodus. Further supporting his argument, Professor Menashe points to Mount Ramon, a mountain situated in the central part of the Negev. He notes its distinctive topographical features, which closely mirror the biblical portrayal of the mountain of God. Interestingly, many theories have been tendered to shed more light on the verse of the biblical text. Number 3. The biblical mysteries in the heart of Saudi Arabia. In emphasizing the significance of specific passages within Exodus, particularly verses 1 and 2 of chapter 19, Professor Menashe underscores their pivotal role in validating his theory. To him, these verses serve as essential markers, guiding the interpretation of the biblical narrative and shedding light on the elusive location of the sacred mountain. These verses from the biblical text indicate that the Israelites reached Mount Sinai after departing from Rephidim. Professor Harel further suggests that Rephidim is situated very close to Mount Sinai and can be readily identified with a location in the central Negev known as the Fion Oasis. According to him, this oasis serves as tangible evidence supporting his hypothesis. Professor Harrell also presents archaeological evidence from the surrounding area, noting the presence of many ancient sites that could credibly be linked to the events associated with Mount Sinai. Despite the persuasiveness of his arguments, the exact location of Mount Sinai remains elusive, lacking precise coordinates. The recent discovery by atheists in Saudi Arabia may unlock the mystery surrounding the precise location of Mount Sinai. But why is the Saudi government so adamant about keeping this discovery quiet? It's quite straightforward when you think about it. They fear that widespread knowledge of this revelation might challenge deeply held beliefs.
In ancient times, these were like billboards along the routes, and they would say, oh, here's a wonderful...
Mount Sinai holds profound significance in Christianity and Judaism, as it's where Moses led the Israelites, and according to the Old Testament, received the 10 Commandments from God amidst smoke and fire. This sacred mountain, enveloped in biblical lore, is believed by many to be a pivotal site of divine interaction. The identified location, Jabal Maqla, nestled within northern Saudi Arabia, aligns with descriptions from ancient texts. The atheists argue that the blackened peaks and evidence of scorching suggest a significant event occurred here, consistent with biblical accounts. However, despite the compelling evidence, many scholars have dismissed these claims. The controversy surrounding Mount Sinai's true location continues to intrigue and challenge established beliefs, highlighting the delicate balance between faith and empirical evidence. The mystery surrounding the Exodus narrative deepens when considering the geological features of the Arabian Peninsula. Jabal al-Lawz, located in present-day Saudi Arabia, not only presents blackened peaks, but also intriguing formations suggestive of ancient volcanic activity. This geological individuality lends weight to the theory that the mountain experienced some cataclysmic event, aligning with the biblical description of divine intervention. Moreover, the surrounding landscape of Jabal al-Lawz harbors several intriguing anomalies. Researchers have noted the presence of petroglyphs and ancient inscriptions in the area, hinting at a rich history that intertwines with the biblical narrative. These findings serve as tantalizing clues, inviting further exploration into the region's past. Another captivating aspect is the proximity of Jabal al-Lawz to potential routes taken by ancient travelers. Historical trade routes intersected the Arabian Peninsula, connecting distant civilizations and facilitating cultural exchange. Could these ancient pathways have played a role in the Exodus journey, guiding the Israelites towards their destination? Furthermore, the cultural significance of the Arabian Peninsula cannot be overstated. It has long been a crossroads of civilizations, with influences ranging from ancient Mesopotamia to the civilizations of the Levant and Egypt. So exploring the region's history sheds light on the interconnectedness of ancient cultures and provides valuable context for understanding the Exodus narrative. Number 4. Decoding the Exodus. The recent archaeological discoveries have unearthed artifacts and structures that bear striking similarities to descriptions found in the biblical texts. From ancient altars to ritual sites, these findings offer tantalizing glimpses into the religious practices of ancient peoples and raise questions about their connections to the Exodus story. Overall, the problem of the Exodus continues to captivate researchers and enthusiasts alike, with each new discovery adding another layer to the story. As scholars delve deeper into the mysteries of the Arabian Peninsula, the true nature of Mount Sinai and the events surrounding the Exodus may finally come to light. Captivatingly, the quest to determine Mount Sinai's exact location has been ongoing for centuries, steeped in historical and religious significance. According to biblical tradition, it was atop this sacred peak that Moses received the 10 Commandments, making it a pivotal site in Judeo-Christian history. The proposed relocation of Mount Sinai to northwestern Saudi Arabia aligns with certain historical accounts and archaeological findings. For instance, some scholars suggest that the area known as Jabal al-Lawz bears striking resemblances to the biblical descriptions of Mount Sinai. This includes geological features that match the biblical narrative, such as a large rock split in two, reminiscent of Moses striking the rock to bring forth water. Moreover, the potential discovery of archaeological remains, such as ancient altars and inscriptions, in the vicinity of Jabal al-Lawz, adds weight to the argument for its candidacy as the true Mount Sinai. The significance of the Red Sea markings further deepens the mystery surrounding the biblical Exodus story. So the recent underwater archaeological expeditions have uncovered intriguing anomalies beneath the waves, including potential remnants of ancient chariot wheels and structures resembling those described in the Exodus account. Such discoveries lend credence to the idea that the biblical narrative may indeed have historical roots, sparking attraction and debate among scholars and the public alike. As researchers continue to unravel the enigma of Mount Sinai's location and explore the evidence surrounding the Exodus story, they delve not only into ancient texts, but also into the geological and archaeological landscape of the region, piecing together a narrative that bridges faith, history, and science. As the Egyptian soldiers watched in amazement, the waters of the sea split apart, revealing a path through the waves. Thinking it was their chance to capture the fleeing Israelites, they hurried to pursue them. However, as they ventured into the parted waters, disaster struck. The walls of water collapsed, crashing down upon them, swallowing them whole. Besides, an amazing event occurred at Nuweiba Beach. Number 5. Moses' intriguing journey to Nuweiba Beach. Experts believe that this extraordinary event likely occurred at Nuweiba Beach. Studies conducted by institutions like the Armstrong Institute of Biblical Archaeology have uncovered submerged remnants beneath the sea, suggesting a possible path the Israelites may have taken in ancient times. What's more, beneath the waves lie structures resembling chariots from that era, providing compelling evidence of the Egyptian army's demise in pursuit of their prey. Another fascinating detail linking Nuweiba Beach to the biblical narrative is the presence of a site known as the biblical campsite of Elim. According to tradition, this campsite was home to 12 wells and 70 palm trees. Strangely, many of these water sources still exist today, lending credibility to the belief that this was indeed the location where Moses performed his miracle. However, scholars continue to debate the authenticity of this account as depicted in the Bible.
Who is like unto thee, O Lord? From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God.
As Moses and the Israelites safely reached the opposite shore, the pursuing Egyptian army met a tragic fate as the sea overwhelmed them. This disastrous event is evidenced by the discovery of numerous large stones in the area, many of which are split in half. Additionally, signs of water erosion further support the notion of a mighty deluge. Interestingly, these split rocks are more abundant along the pathway leading from Jabal Musa to the beach, hinting at the route taken by the fleeing Israelites. The biblical account in Exodus also references a miraculous event where Moses struck a rock to provide water for the thirsty Israelites in the wilderness. This passage, found in chapter 17, is supported by the presence of a split rock at Horeb, displaying clear signs of water erosion, indicating high water levels in the region. Moreover, researchers have uncovered another compelling piece of evidence, a structure resembling an altar at the base of the mountain. According to Exodus, Moses constructed an altar at the foot of Mount Sinai using cut stones. The existence of such a structure adds weight to the biblical narrative, strengthening the connection between the physical landscape and the events described in the text. As the Israelites traversed the wilderness, their journey was punctuated by significant events and remarkable discoveries. At Rephidim, where they made camp, the unfolding of history knotted with the landscape in extraordinary ways. But legend has it that when Prophet Moses struck the towering rock, water didn't just drop but gushed forth, quenching the thirst of the parched desert travelers. This miraculous moment, immortalized in biblical text, took place amidst a rugged terrain where survival seemed improbable. Upon examining the split rock closely, experts have determined not only signs of water breakdown, but also evidence of geological disorder. The rock's fracture, with its imposing width, invites contemplation of the forces at play in shaping the Earth's crust. Moreover, the desolate surroundings of the split rock add to its mystique. In a barren expanse where life struggles to take root, the emergence of such a life-giving spring is nothing short of awe-inspiring. But further exploration reveals the site where the Israelites succumbed to idolatry, worshipping the golden calf. Known as Jabal Musa, this location carries booms of ancient rituals and serves as a touching notice of the Israelites' spiritual journey amidst the trials of the wilderness. But Mount Sinai is full of many wonderful and amazing miracles. Number 6. The archaeological wonders of Mount Sinai. As archaeologists continue to uncover the secrets hidden within the desert sands, each discovery adds depth to the narrative of the Exodus, inviting us to marvel at the intersection of faith, history, and the natural world. On this side of the mountain lies an ancient altar, crafted from rugged granite stones. Nestled at the base of Mount Sinai, remnants of small marble pillars can also be spotted. This aligns perfectly with the descriptions found in Exodus, where it's said that Moses built an altar using uncut stones and erected 12 pillars to symbolize the 12 tribes of Israel. Interestingly, researchers have uncovered only 9 of these pillars mentioned in the biblical text. Additionally, scattered throughout the area are fragments of broken sandstone, adding to the archaeological puzzle. Besides the infamous incident of the golden calf, recounted in Exodus chapter 32, unfolds amidst the backdrop of Mount Sinai. As the Hebrew, fresh from their escape from Egypt, implores Aaron, Moses' brother, to fashion a golden calf, Moses himself ascends the mountain in response to a divine call for revelation. It is here, amidst the solemnity of divine communion, that Moses receives the sacred directives inscribed upon stone tablets. However, upon descending from the heights of Mount Sinai, Moses is greeted with a scene of disbelief and outrage. The Hebrew, in his absence, has turned to idolatry, worshipping the golden calf. Fueled by righteous anger, Moses warns them of the looming wrath of God, condemning their actions and the consequences that await them. Upon hearing these words, fear gripped the people, their hearts pounding with panic. They turned to Moses, pleading for forgiveness for their wrongdoings. But Prophet Moses, consumed by wrath, felt a surge of anger coursing through him. With a forceful gesture, he cast down the stone tablets, each piece shocking upon impact with the ground, a heartbreaking symbol of the shattered covenant with God. In his righteous fury, Moses commanded that the golden idol, crafted in defiance, be reduced to molten metal. Then, in a dramatic display of separation, it was mixed with water and consumed, a stark division between the faithful and the faithless. As recounted in Exodus, those who lacked belief faced a forbidding fate, succumbing to a devastating epidemic that ravaged their ranks. The origins of this idolatry lay in the Hebrews' past, when they dwelled in the land of Egypt, surrounded by the worship of foreign deities. The allure of the golden calf, once revered as an Egyptian god, proved too tempting for some. Yet, as Moses descended from the sacred Mount Sinai, he gave out swift justice upon those who dared to pass the divine. Today, fragments of this ancient misbehavior endure, fixed into the very stones surrounding the altar where Moses stood in judgment. Petroglyphs, weathered by time yet still vivid, represent scenes of worshipping the calf, a stark reminder of humanity's enduring struggle between faith and temptation. In addition to the petroglyphs depicting calves, there are other ancient carvings that suggest the Hebrews once worshipped various Egyptian demigods. On both the eastern and western slopes of the mountain, numerous altars have been discovered. These archaeological findings closely match the descriptions found in various biblical accounts. However, further investigation is necessary to fully understand the significance of these discoveries. Unfortunately, conducting such research is exceedingly challenging due to the fact that the Saudi government has restricted access to these areas, ostensibly to protect an unknown aspect of the site. Despite the convincing evidence that has already been uncovered, the archaeological community remains divided on many aspects. But, unfortunately, the location of the sacred sites remains anonymous. Number 7. The puzzling quest for a sacred site. When consulting the Bible to pinpoint the exact location of this sacred mountain, the journey takes a dramatic turn. Over the years, numerous locations have been proposed, yet none have been definitively confirmed through archaeological evidence alone. While on the other side, the Bible offers some hints about where to find this sacred site. According to Christian beliefs, Mount Sinai lies beyond the borders of Egypt, a notion rooted in Exodus 19:1. The book of Exodus also clarifies that Mount Sinai is not located in Midian, where Moses' father-in-law resided. Traditionally, Christians pinpoint Mount Sinai in the southern central part of the Sinai Peninsula, known as Jabal Musa. Jabal Musa is an impressive mountain towering 2,762 feet above sea level. Nestled within its rugged territory is St. Catherine's Monastery, erected in 530 AD. This monastery is situated on the northern slope of Mount Sinai. At its peak, you'll discover a Christian chapel alongside an Islamic mosque. Likewise, atop this ancient mountain, there's a venerable library that holds significant historical treasures. One notable artifact housed in this library is the Codex Sinaiticus, a pivotal Greek manuscript used in the translation of the Bible. It's an invaluable resource shedding light on ancient texts and providing insight into the origins of biblical scriptures. Mount Sinai's whereabouts have sparked debate, with proposals suggesting it could be in 3 distinct regions: the Eastern Desert, along the Nile River, or in the Western Desert. Many contemporary archaeologists lean towards identifying Mount Sinai as Mount Yoham in the northern Negev Desert. However, alternative theories argue that Mount Sinai might not be located on the Sinai Peninsula, but in Edom, as referenced in the book of Deuteronomy 33. Yet, the main view among archaeologists worldwide points to Mount Sinai being situated in northwestern Saudi Arabia. This interpretation finds support in biblical texts, such as Paul's mention of Mount Sinai in Arabia in Galatians 4. However, it's crucial to recognize that in ancient times, Arabia encompassed a vast area, spanning both present-day Saudi Arabia and the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. Nevertheless, the exact location of Mount Sinai remains a mystery, with no definitive answer. Various archaeologists and religious scholars hold differing opinions. Even so, a growing consensus among both archaeologists and religious scholars suggests that Mount Sinai is indeed situated in Saudi Arabia. Still, proving the claim and resolving the debate surrounding Mount Sinai's location requires a comprehensive approach. Archaeologists seek to amass a wealth of evidence to substantiate their theories, a task hindered by the Saudi government's restrictions on accessing the site. The obscurity surrounding Mount Sinai's true location stems from historical neglect, as efforts to document its precise coordinates were lacking. However, a great role was played by Queen Helena on the religious stuff. Number 8. Queen Helena's outstanding legacy. Emperor Constantine's pivotal role in shaping perceptions of Mount Sinai adds depth to this historical puzzle. Constantine's mother, Queen Helena, played a crucial part in influencing her stance on religious matters. Queen Helena, renowned for her embrace of Christianity alongside pagan beliefs, championed a nuanced understanding of spirituality. She encouraged Constantine to pivot the Roman Empire towards Christian governance, leaving an indelible mark on history. So Queen Helena's legacy extends beyond political influence. she embarked on a grand pilgrimage to the Holy Land, where she erected memorials honoring significant biblical events. Among these testimonials, she constructed one at the site traditionally associated with the burning bush, immortalizing the iconic moment from the Book of Exodus. Also, Queen Helena's conviction regarding Mount Sinai's location underscores the complexity of the debate. For centuries, she and successive generations believed Mount Sinai resided within the Egyptian peninsula, continuing this narrative through the construction of monuments and religious symbolism. But then the confluence of political power, religious fervor, and historical interpretation links in the saga of Mount Sinai's elusive whereabouts, making it a captivating subject of study for archaeologists and historians alike. As a queen, she confidently asserted that Mount Sinai resided in the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt, and her authority left little room for questioning. This assertion has entrenched the belief that Mount Sinai is located on the Sinai Peninsula for many people. However, upon closer examination, this location doesn't perfectly match the descriptions found in biblical texts. According to the accounts in the Bible, the mountain that closely matches the descriptions is Jabal Musa. This inconsistency has posed a challenge for archaeological scientists trying to piece together the puzzle and fully understand the story recounted in the Book of Exodus. As a result, doubts have arisen regarding the accuracy of the biblical narrative itself. The difficulty in pinpointing the exact location of Mount Sinai can be attributed to various factors. Influence from traditions and interpretations of biblical texts have clouded our understanding. Additionally, human error has contributed to the deviation from the truth. To rediscover what has been forgotten, we must return to the ultimate source of truth, the written Word of God found in the Bible. Within its pages, there are clear descriptions, such as a large body of water specifically located in the Gulf of Aqaba in the Red Sea. This serves as a guidepost for unraveling the mysteries surrounding Mount Sinai's true location. This location, straddling the borders of Saudi Arabia, presents a tantalizing prospect for archaeologists eager to uncover evidence related to Mount Sinai. However, stringent restrictions imposed by the Saudi government hinder their efforts, particularly in areas where significant discoveries could be made. Despite the fervent quest to locate Mount Sinai, its precise whereabouts may not hold as much historical significance as once presumed. Even scaling the heights of this legendary mountain does not guarantee a closer communion with the divine. God, as a profound enigma, transcends physical landmarks. Moreover, Mount Sinai's historical and religious significance extends beyond mere geographical exploration. It serves as a symbol of humanity's relationship with the divine and the complexities of religious interpretation. The mountain is steeped in biblical lore, with its summit purportedly being the site where Moses received the Ten Commandments. However, the journey towards spiritual enlightenment cannot be solely achieved through geographical conquests. While the search for Mount Sinai persists, the true essence of faith lies in introspection and adherence to divine principles rather than in the physical act of scaling mountains. In essence, the quest for Mount Sinai encapsulates the age-old pursuit of understanding humanity's relationship with the divine, navigating the intricate drapery of religious tradition, history, and faith. What do you think about these terrifying discoveries made in Saudi Arabia? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. And if you enjoy watching this video, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel.